Lee speaks sometimes and Michelle, and they do a great job, and I kept thinking, who should I get? Not that they wouldn't do a great job, but for some reason God would not let me ask them. And I thought, well, I'm just going to wait. Sometimes we need to just wait on the Lord.
Yes, we do.
I'm just going to wait, and I thought maybe what it's going to be is just a prayer service. But until I hear from God, I'm going to wait.
Amen.
Well, I had someone contact me, like, just a few hours after I prayed that, and said, whenever you're ready, I have a word to share. And I was like, guess what? I'm ready, because this is confirmation from God. Now, let me just say this. It doesn't matter who's behind this pulpit as long as they have the message from God.
That's right.
Amen. So, I'm going to call our special speaker up here. This is her first time ever giving out a message like this, and she is nervous, and I told her just cover it with prayer.
Yes.
Cover it with prayer. Get up here and let God use you. Don't try to be anything special. You're just a vessel.
Amen.
So let God use you. And I believe God's going to use her, and I believe He's given her a word for a reason. So y'all support her, amen her today, and show her some love, because this is hard. It's not easy to be up here, especially when you're shy and you're doing it for the first time. And I always tell people, do it scared. Do it scared, because God will reward that. Amen? So let's welcome Kayla to the pulpit this morning.
Definitely doing it scared. Before we jump into the message, I actually have a song I'm going to share that kind of goes along with it. It's funny because that's actually how this started out. It was a song. So I put the words up there, and you guys know I don't sing without music, but I'm going to do that, so it's even double scary. So just listen to the words, and yeah, okay. All right. Go plead with your mother with the words of Hosea, as he sent his children to extend his mercy. So they journeyed down the old path that led to much destruction. All the while the loving hearts were hurting. Their hope was crushed inside as their compassion was denied. The woman they so loved seemed like a stranger. Heartbroken and alone, they took the long road home. For sin now reigned, and all hope seemed gone to change her. One day the word was told, some slaves were being sold. A restless love sent Hosea seeking. One by one they brought them in, so beaten down with sin. Within his chest his anxious heart was beating. All at once she caught his eye. From his lips the beards were high. She could not believe the voice that she could hear. Would he through judgment take her life, forever in his pain and strife? What would happen as she saw him drawing near her? I've come to take you home. I know that you've done wrong, but for you I'd give my life. Through the sorrow, pain, and strife, I couldn't let you go. Let's leave the past behind. Love conquers one more time. He took her hand and said, there's a new day just ahead. I've come to take you home. Now I've stood in that same place, by my sin a broken slave. From the depths of my despair I prayed for mercy. I heard his word, the price was paid on the cross for you that day. Take my hand now, child, and welcome to the family. us one more time. He took my hand and said, there's a new day just ahead. I've come to take you home.
Amen.
Okay, so preparing for this lesson, I'm going to call it a lesson because I'm not a preacher, I'm a teacher. Okay, so preparing for it, I studied forever and I prayed, and every time I would give the sermon to myself because I'm crazy. So it would change every time, and I'd be like, okay, God, what do you want to get out of this? You know, because every time I do it, it's something different that comes out of it. So we're just going to flow and see what happens.
Yes, amen.
Okay, I am going to open with prayer. So if you guys will please pray for me as I pray. So, dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you and I praise you for everything that you're doing here. I thank you for your spirit that's here, God. I ask that this message that's coming through today will be everything that you want, God, and nothing of me, Jesus. For this is for you and your glory. Please just touch us and bless us and help us along our way. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. So the first scripture I have is Hosea 1 and 2. And we're going to do Hosea. Funny thing about it is I've always knew the story of Hosea, you know, but I didn't realize that there was a whole other part going on with Israel and God. I didn't know that until I started story. So I'm one of those helpless romantics. I love the love stories. So that's what started me on that. All right, so Hosea 1 and 2 says, when the Lord began to speak through Hosea, the Lord said to him, go marry a promiscuous woman and have children with her. For like an adulterous wife, this land is guilty of unfaithfulness to the Lord. Okay, so there's actually two parts right there. You know, God is saying to Hosea, I need you to go and marry. He's speaking specifically. But then it said, the land is guilty. And I was like, okay. So I began to study that. That's actually Israel he's talking about. Because in the before time, he delivered them from exile and things. And they were like, oh, God, thank you. We're going to serve you. We're going to keep your commitments. You know, they made a covenant with God. And a covenant is like a marriage. So they entered into that with God. Well, what happened was, as time passed, they traveled and they got distracted, right? Everybody gets distracted, right? All right, so they got distracted, and then we're going to move into this next part, which is Hosea 4, 1 and 2. All right, it says, hear the word of the Lord, you Israelites, because the Lord has a charge to bring against you who live in the land. There is no faithfulness, no love, no acknowledgement of God in the land. There is only cursing, lying, and murdering, stealing, and adultery. They break all the bonds, and bloodshed follows bloodshed. Now, wait a minute. What happened, right? They were following God. Well, they got distracted, and now they're definitely not following God. You know, all those things are taking place. All right, if we go down to 4:7, it says, the more priests there were, the more they sinned against me. They exchanged their glorious God for something disgraceful.
That's right.
So now they had forgotten about God completely. You know, they're not even thinking of him anymore. They're not serving him. Actually, they've made a new God. So we're going to jump down to 4:12, and that's our next one. And in the Bible it says Baal or Baal, I'm not sure how to say that. But it says, they ask a piece of wood for advice. They think a stick can tell them the future. Longing after idols has made them foolish. They have played the prostitute, serving other gods and deserting their God. So what I like how it said, you know, they ask him, they're foolish, you know, because if you think about it, what's a piece of wood going to really do for you? But and then it says they play the prostitute. That doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, they were seeing that side of it, you know.
Right.
It means that they sold themselves out to another God. Not necessarily to another human being.
Right.
All right, but in the midst of all this mess, here's Hosea. You know, and Hosea is actually a prophet. And so he's the one, and he's saying, okay, guys, remember your covenant that you made with the Lord. That's what he's preaching. And also he preaches mainly on if we don't get our act together, we're going to be, we're going to have to suffer some destruction. We're going to be exiled because God loves us and we have to stop this.
Amen.
So then I was like, man, that must have made Hosea not a popular man. He must not have been popular. Because if everybody else is off having what they think is a great time, and then here's Hosea like, oh, you guys better stop that. Right, but that actually makes him perfect for God to use. See, it may not always be the popular thing to do to serve God.
No.
But it made him a perfect vessel.
Amen.
So, but saying that, God asked Hosea to do something that was pretty radical. Because he's like, okay, you're this prophet, go and marry this promiscuous woman, So, it makes you think, has God ever asked you to do anything that you're like, I don't know about that, That makes me a little uncomfortable, or I love this one. Is that really you, God? Come on. That's my favorite. Is that you, God? Because, marrying Gomer to him, it broke every cultural normal for a priest during that time.
Oh, yeah.
But Hosea being who he is, he does it. He marries Gomer, and they have kids together. Okay, so if we then jump down to Hosea 2:5. Says, their mother has been unfaithful and has conceived them in disgrace. She said, I will go after my lovers who gave me my food and my water and my wool and my linen, my oil and my drink. Well, Hosea marries her, hoping that for the best, but God does say, that he's using this as an illustration. So Hosea already kind of knows what's going to happen. It probably still hurts, right?
I'm sure.
Okay, so Gomer goes after him and goes after the things from her previous promiscuous life. And you know how we all have a past, right? We all have a past. When you're out in sin, things look real good.
Right. Right.
We think, okay, what is this? I'm going to go after this because it makes me happy. It makes me happy for now. We're not looking at the big picture.
No.
We're just worried about what's this going to fulfill for the now. Well, Gomer keeps on, because she's living that life, and before you know it, consumes her. She's gone to a point to where she thinks is no return.
Right.
And it happens.
It does.
Most of us have been to our lowest points to where we feel like there's no coming back from this, So how do we think Hosea feels at this moment, if his wife is out there? It's not in the Bible that he feels bad, but, I think I'd be embarrassed. I'd be mad, sad. Because it's not only happening, but it's happening in front of people. Like, everybody knows now. So they're probably like, ha ha, Hosea, see, you preached all this, and then look at you. What has your God done?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's how people are nowadays.
Yes, they are.
But on the same sense, how do we think that God feels, like when we're doing stuff? After we've said, yes, God,
Yes.
I'm going to go to church every Sunday, I'm going to pray every day, because we try, right? We do try to do our best. But God, being who he is, always loves us through it, right? He always loves us through it. So if we go to 3:1. This is now God telling Hosea, being who he is. He said, the Lord said to me, go show your love to your wife again, though she is loved by another and is an adulteress. Love her as the Lord loves the Israelites, though they turn to other gods and love the sake of raisin cakes. So not only has God asked Hosea to love her once, he's like, now go love her again. And then he says, even though she's loved by another. So even though she's doing this stuff, not wait till she comes to you and repents, not wait till she turns around. He's like, even though she's doing this,
Right.
love her through it. Because how many of us would be here if we had to wait until we were perfect to come to God? I would have been a mess. Okay. Now we're going to go to the next one, which is 3:2. So I bought her for 15 shekels of silver and about a homer and a lethek of barley. I think I'm saying those right. Okay. All right, so before I studied this, I was thinking, okay, so he had to buy her back from prostitution. He had to buy her as a slave and all that stuff. But then as I was studying, the Bible talks about a bride price. And I was like, okay, what is a bride price? All right, so the definition is up there. It says a bride price paid in this case via silver and barley signified a woman's value to her family. It was a compensation paid in the Old Testament times to the family a woman left when she married and went to live with her husband. It did not mean that her husband owned her like property, but it did symbolize her great worth, both to the family she left and to her husband. Israel is very precious to God. His love for her is not casual. In the New Testament, the price God pays to redeem his people is high indeed, the death of his own beloved son.
Yes. Yes.
So that really made me think. I was like, okay, so Hosea had to pay this bride price twice now. You know, once when Gomer was leaving her family, he had to pay it then, but now he's paying it again, and it's not just money. It says her worth. What is she worth?
Right.
You know, and that just shows, just because we may mess up, we are still worthy of God's love to him. I mean, to him we're everything. He gave his son for us. And that's just awesome to me.
It is.
Unconditional love, I think, is beautiful. You know, a lot of us don't have that or haven't experienced that.
Right.
And so when God says, I love you, you know, you're like, okay, God, yeah, you love me. You know, that's good. And then as you grow, you realize, wow, this really is an unconditional love. Especially like when you do mess up and you're like, God, I'm sorry. And you can feel his hug and you can feel his love around you.
Amen.
Yes, it's just awesome.
Yes, it is.
So we're going to go to 14 and 15. I'm actually almost done. But then I will win her back once again. I will lead her into the desert and speak tenderly to her. I will return her vineyards to her and transform the valley of trouble into a gateway of hope. She will give herself to me there as she did long ago when she was young, when I freed her from her captivity in Egypt. Okay. This is a awesome.
Good stuff.
Yes, it is very good stuff because not only does God love me unconditionally, but he comes seeking after me. And I thought that was, I will win her back. Like, how awesome is that? God is dying. You know, he's trying so hard to win our love. And I was like, man, who am I that you are going to try to win me? You know, and that's what I got from there. And not only will you win me back, but it says I will return her vineyards to her and transform her. So you're going to bring me back from a broken land and make me whole again? Like, how awesome is that?
Amen.
So I just couldn't wrap my mind around that for a minute.
That's right.
So if we're honest with ourselves, we've all been like Gomer in ways. We may not have committed the same sins that she committed, but we've all done things, and God's brought us back from those.
Absolutely.
He continues to work in our lives and clean us every day. And it's not because of who we are, but it's because of who he is.
Amen.
He will go through the deepest, darkest, messiest places and pull us out.
Amen.
Yes.
So I guess the main thing here is just unconditional love. Just knowing that we are loved and to never give up, because God never gives up on us.
No, he doesn't.
That's all I got.
Praise God.